A red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. The use of chemical weapons is and would be totally unacceptable. And if you make the tragic mistake of using these weapons, there will be consequences and you will be held accountable.
President Obama made it clear chemical weapons in Syria will not be tolerated, and now U.S. officials are saying that there is, in fact, evidence that sarin nerve gas has been used by the Assad regime. Israel is urging President Obama to lead the response, but at what cost? Maybe the better question is, what's the cost of not responding? Joining me for more now on this is Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Thanks for joining us. That's it, right? They crossed the red line. Now what?
Well, I think, Melissa, it seems to we're turning into sort of the laughingstock of the world, or a paper tiger, where I guess we needed to get the memo on what font the red line was written in and how thick it was, because we, as you and I spoke when the Syrian Support Group broke the news about chemical weapons used on March 19th, it was confirmed by patient symptoms. It's been now confirmed again on April 25th, just yesterday, that there was used chemical weapons by Israeli photography, British soil samples. I mean, how much more do we need? Now it's about the scale of chemical weapons. And as we spoke about a month ago, I think they were just testing. And they're going to continue to use a larger and larger amount of genocide in order to finally shut up the Syrian people and destroy them. And we're just sitting back and allowing this to happen. And Israel, our ally in the region, is asking us to help because they see this only radicalizing the Syrian people and not helping them evolve into freedom.
You have family in Syria, right? How bad is the situation?
Oh, I just can't express to you. We try to call them every day to find out how they are. 3 million people are displaced. Their businesses have been destroyed. I don't know how, my aunt, who's a physician, and my uncle, who's a pharmacist, whose pharmacy's been destroyed, how they're making a living. The Syrian people are desperate. They're dying. And they right now are getting help from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. These are not exactly people that are going to help our allies in the Free Syria Army. They're helping the wrong actors. And this is why we need to make an investment now, because you can pay now or pay later, but the price is going to be much worse in doing nothing.
Okay, so what would you like to see the U.S. do right now? What's the most effective thing that we could do?
The number one thing is to get effective weapons in the hands of, as best as we can do, the right people in the Free Syrian Army, anti-aircraft, anti-tank. Number two is to begin to get NATO to do a no-fly zone and provide a safe harbor in northern Syria so that refugees can have a place to go, so that they can begin to have a place to launch the rest of the revolution, to do away and finalize the war against Assad's regime, and then begin to get humanitarian aid into the region.
The first thing that you talked about, trying to arm the right guys, that is very hard to do. And it seems like the majority of the time when we get involved and we try to provide weapons to one side or the other, or figure out who the good actors are, we end up, doing the wrong thing or not doing enough of the right. That's just very tricky. How can we do that?
Well, Melissa, I think one of the problems we have sort of in our ADD approach to foreign policy and regions is that we think it's always binary. It's either we do really good or we do really bad. And there's gray zones. We try to provide weapons to the best options that we have and try to move them towards a better future. And right now, if we don't get involved, Iran and Russia are arming the bad people. They are arming our enemies, and they're going to continue to use us as a proxy war to say that they will have just sort of wanton freedom in the region to spread their radical Islamism, to spread the fascism of Russia into the region and radicalize Muslims like they did in Chechnya and like we saw came to Boston. So all of this will come home to roost, and the cost is much more if we do nothing. And yes, it's going to be hard to know who we arm. There's got to be a way to track weapons, and there's got to be a way to hold them accountable. But at least we'll know we're going to be at least arming people that are better than the Qataris would or the Saudis would be arming.
Dr. Jasser, you took the words out of my mouth. That is the cost of not getting involved. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks, Melissa. Appreciate it.